Hello, namaskar. It's the 1st of March already. It's around 1 a.m. It's a Friday also. Today, we're moving into the month of Holy. I think Easter is 4th of April and Shivratri is the 8th of March. Time flies so quickly. Only the other day it was Christmas. You know, when you go to school as a young child, you're born, you're free from so many deadly habits. You go to school, the teacher tell you no smoking allowed in school, no drinking as young boys, no foul language. If they hear you cursing, you will get beat you, they will get a cane in, the spanking rod as they call it. Also, you can't indulge in too much fights in the classroom. You have to get good behavior, and these kind of things we tend to bring with us in the modern world, so that at the workplace also we don't curse, we don't smoke, we're not supposed to use foul language, we're not supposed to fight at the workplace also. All these here destroy the professional atmosphere. It affects the smooth functioning of everyday processes. So even when you come to the spiritual life also, if you have those assets, it's a blessing. Only yesterday morning I was going to work, and I saw a very dignified looking Indian man. He was dark complexion. He was proceeding along Lamaha Street in an easterly direction. And he caught my attention, so I watched him to measure his character. To my surprise, the guy look at you in a very pervert way, and start to fix his private parts. So I was aghast. I had to spit in the drain, that people externally they look refined and they look shine, but internally it's another subject, it's another issue. This is one of the bad habits that people pick up, the sexual expressivity, like playing with the privates. When you go anywhere, they have to express sexuality, humble you in a sexual way. I think this is uncalled for. I find this almost everywhere I go. I go to the workplace, it is like that. You go at the online shop, it is like that. You go in the supermarket, it is like that. You go in the university, it is like that. This should not be, in school days that was very bad habit to be playing with your private. That's unclean, But as people become sexually conscious, or as the Bible said, they eat the forbidden fruit. So the mind come down to the sexual level. They realize they were naked. So people who have fallen, that is biblical or spiritual language, fallen people, they are very caught up in their sexual orientation. The soul, the atma, is without sex. It has not male, no female. You're just consciousness, which is known as chitta. Chitta is the consciousness. You can be conscious, you can be super conscious, you can be highly conscious also, God conscious. You can be in an altered state of conscious. I remember when I was in a UG studying pharmacology with Dr. Simon from the UWI. In his class, he was talking, he said it's very unexplained. You can't explain the phenomenon of the yogis in the Himalayas. They're living atop the mountains in the snows at the highest peak where oxygen level is very low also. How do you explain that? And they're surviving and living there in holes and caves with hardly any clothing on their body. He described this as being the phenomenon of altered state of consciousness. Dr. Simon said it's an altered state of consciousness. I don't know how to explain it more. But it's a very bad habit, and I find this becoming, even at my workplace there's a mulatto guy, tall mulatto guy who's supposed to be a senior government officer. He is very insultive in his sexual actions and behaviors. People have to threaten him, telling them they will have to get a lawyer for him, which I think is the best approach. So I think people should try to inculcate clean habits, because if you want to follow the spiritual path, these things also play important role. You will have to cleanliness, the yamas and niyama, cleanliness of the body, cleanliness of the mind. You have to be free from the habits or bad habits. People tend to pick up bad habits from a very young age. And in high school, teacher try to let you be free from these habits, but many people pick up it, and they bring it and they infect other the students in the class. So what happens is that you have due to pressure, people start to go in the wrong direction, they pull in a wrong direction. So some people are so far gone, they cannot realize that they're caught up in this state of mind, this state of consciousness. They're pulling other people along with them to a path of destruction, to a wrong and fruitless path, direction. This was happening in many times. They call in school days, this was known as a bad apple in the cart. When you have a bad apple in the cart, it spoils all the apples. A bad student, you have to stem him in the butt, correct him early. That's the teacher's approach in high school, in school days. Don't correct the child, he may infect other students and bring them down with bad behavior. And this is what we find, that as soon as people graduate from high school, as soon as they become adults, come out of school, they end into university, they have free sex, they smoke, they drink, and they do have more freedom, more licentiousness. This is very bad. People can't have freedom like that. If you want to progress spiritually, you have to keep those bad habits still under control. So you live in a pure child. They take the child over into adulthood, the pure child. Purity is a very important role. Many people feel because they are doctors, they are lawyers, they are engineers, they have a right to trample, they have a right to insult other people. There's one guy living right here in my yard here, who comes here occasionally. He's from abroad. He said his qualification is so you have so much qualifications, so he has a right to tell you anything, insult you, and all of these things. This is not right. That is not true. It's very false. People have to have human dignity. They have to be living in a way that inspire humanity, that inspire people, bring happiness to others, not sorrow upon the land, upon your home, in your community, by your bad behavior and immoral conduct. That's why Swami Sivananda was saying morality is more important, good character is more important than intelligence. Right? What is the use you have intelligence but you don't have good character, good conduct, and good behavior? You become an absence. You use that intellect in a wrong way. You become a mad genius, a bad egg. So as we get old and some people have come into the modern world and they've relinquished those bad habits that young boys are free from at a very young age. Many of them would pick that habit up because it looks enticing. It means you're a man if you learn to be bad, if you have bad habits, charismatic habits, macho habits. They're actually deviant behaviors, perverted behaviors, but you don't realize that. If you look at the British influence early days, even the Indian influence, Islamic influence, if you can free yourself from smoking, drinking, extramarital affairs, all of these licentiousness, it will be very good and helpful in a spiritual path, in a spiritual way. Look at the lives of genuine and great saints. They're like little children. They're innocent, free from all these negative habits. So prevention is better than cure, rather than force other people in your hell, in your downward trend, as we have my friend at the workplace is doing, this veterinary officer. We hope that good habits and better habits will persist and percolate in our everyday life. in our families, our home, all right? I find people, those who drink, they have certain, the alcohol make them certain characteristic they develop. When you smoke, they give off a certain aura, certain dignity, certain pride. When they can tattoo themselves, when they can behave in all this weird manner, it looks masculine, it looks powerful, it looks hip, it looks okay, it looks fashionable. But these are all courses when you lose your purity. At an early age, you have to use those crutches to give yourself an identity, to give yourself a push, give yourself a pep into the modern life, into the daily life. But those who are silent, there are maybe few who are silent, who have freed themselves from those negative habits. They can look and they can see that those habits are not the end and be all of life. The Japanese Zen master say the finger, it's pointing to the moon, but the finger is not the moon. Similarly, good behavior, good conduct is what they call, like what the Ten Commandments give, what the yamas and niyamas, good behavior, good conducts. You know, the pandit and the priest, they say, do what I say, but don't do as I do. Because they don't follow the Ten Commandments, they don't follow the rules of ethics. And the rules of ethics are there to enhance you, to purify the body and the mind. But if you're going to inject bad habits and bad quality, it injures the body, it injures the mind. So you're forcing other people in along your avenue also by pressure, by your arrogance, by your ignorance. So that's why it's very wrong to have leaders who can perceive, who can influence or inspire people to be good, to be decent, to be productive, to be resourceful, helpful, kind, generous. These are leadership qualities, if you know the qualities of a leader. I did study the leadership qualities from the book Social Studies for CXC by I.B. Bedo. He spoke about the qualities of a leader's honesty, kindness. These are leadership qualities, and strength and positive virtues and qualities. That's why the religious people, they make good leaders. Genuine, saintly religious people, they make the best leaders. But those who fall to the traps of deviant childhood, deviant boyhood, they struggle. They might get an education at high price. We're paying with a high price, but they don't make the best leaders. Their bodies are corrupted, their minds are corrupted, their souls are corrupted. It's also like a cancer in the society. And we hope these cancerous elements can be removed, because, like I said, a bad apple in the cart will make other apples bad. In school, when you have a bad element in the class, he has to be corrected quickly or he will infect. If he tries to take leadership role or try to lead others, he will destroy them. Like in the Tantra yoga system, they use the same alcohol, cigarette, sex, meat, wine as a way for expressing also these qualities. But they are not the end of all. The fingers pointing, but it's not the end, it's not the goal. You have to give it up eventually. That's called Panchamakara Tantra, using materialism to reach your end, There's the 5 M's. So those who feel that their alcoholism, visiting the brothel and the whorehouse, will make them better leaders. They are very wrong, they're disillusioned, and they're leading other people in the wrong direction also. I hope that this helps and clarify and make things easier for those who are working in the government system, working in the public system, working in the private system, who has to work and face colleagues, co-workers, neighbors, people in the communities with this scourge, this plague, as they struggle to live a decent and a good life. Being come down upon leaders by co-workers, by fellow men who are trying to force them into believing that the bad life, the negative side of life, materialism, is the right way. This has been an old argument. You know, the Bible says narrow is the way to God and wide is the way to destruction, to hell. So the narrow way is the way of virtue, good conduct, good behavior. So my friend at the workplace, please remember the biblical laws. You know, you come from a Christian background, be influenced by your Christian, feel comfortable with your own tradition. If the Asian culture does not familiarize you with comfort, please be happy with your own culture. So thanking you this much, and I hope everything plays out well in the end. You know, they say victory for the righteous comes in the end eventually, but I believe that people can speed victory up, speed results up if they are revolutionary, if they are strong, if they are, you know, have faith in God. They can speed things up rather than wait for nature to take its course along the long way. So all the best for those who are struggling to carry decency, good conduct, good behavior in their life. May you be free from alcohol, licentiousness, materialism, and promiscuity. Namaskar. All the best. Happy Friday.